Would you explain from where you believe the anti-white agenda comes? Yes, we can explain. We don't want this show to go on forever tonight, but yes, ultimately, what you need to know, what we need to know to act for our well-being, for our community, and therefore ourselves, is that anti-whiteism is based in jealousy. Anti-whites feel inferior, whether they are white or non-white. They feel inferior in the presence of Western kind. They want to revenge themselves. It is an inappropriate response to jealousy. What is an appropriate response to jealousy? An appropriate response to jealousy is, and we all feel it, it's a natural thing to feel, an appropriate response to jealousy is to say, the guy down the street just purchased a Ferrari. I wish I had that money because I really like that car. I actually really like Ferraris, among other vehicles. But the appropriate thing to do is to not hate him down the street because he has the Ferrari. The appropriate thing to do, what successful people do to varying degrees, is they take the jealousy they feel for wanting a vehicle like that this other person has, and they put it into the fire of themselves to motivate them to move forward, to work harder, to get the raise, to get the promotion, to find a way to finance the car of their dreams or a car that is close enough that they will be satisfied. That is the healthy response to jealousy, to envy. That's not what anti-whites do. Anti-whites make the decision that they have been wronged. They make that decision for themselves. Depends on the anti-white. They've been wronged by chance. They've been wronged by God. They've been wronged by this. They've been wronged by that. They've been wronged. And they need some way to avenge themselves because they feel that they are in identifying themselves as being wronged. They've identified themselves as a victim. And that does a lot for a person, a lot of selfish things for an individual. It frees up the right of retaliation. If they cannot have the things that they're jealous of, well, then they will harm those who do. So naturally, what has happened over time is an ideology grew up around this general sentiment of jealousy and envy of Western kind in general. People in our own community who felt, and by the way, this jealousy and envy can be of any stripe you can imagine. So the wealthiest person can be jealous of a poor person who is taller. That wealthy person who is, the guy who's 5'4" could be really jealous of the poor white guy who's 6 feet tall or whatever. The sick person can be jealous of the healthy person. All of these things, jealous for wealth, jealous for looks, jealous for any number of things. And when it comes to white anti-whites, they don't feel, usually based in these jealousies, they don't feel a connection to the grand dignity that Western kind yields and gives to its members. So this grand history and this dignity that it conveys to us, they don't feel a connection to it for one of those reasons or multiple of those reasons. Non-white people, quite naturally, don't feel the dignity that Western civilization conveys onto the participants, the actual Western kind. And so they feel jealousy. Now, not all non-white people are going to use the jealousy and envy in the self-destructive way. Some of them are going to use it. You probably know some of them are going to use it in the beneficial way. They'll say, look at all the great things that they have done. They have achieved so much. Let's be like that. But a great many of them, just like a great many white people, instead indulge the jealousy and the envy, name themselves victim, gain the right of revenge. But because there isn't a God to punish, because you can't punish chance, something that's aleatory, the only thing they can avenge themselves on, and they can't avenge themselves on the totality of Western kind, the only thing they can avenge themselves on is the avatar of Western kind, which is the white guy that works at the end of the street, the plumber, the welder, the doctor, the musician. The only person they can avenge themselves on is the white applicant that sits across from them, that they can say, you don't get the job. The non-white person over here gets the job. That is the infliction of harm. And so quite naturally, a grand demonic ideology grew out of those base sentiments. And it draws those who feel that way to it faster than moths to a flame. That is where anti-whiteism comes from. Don't bother postulating anything else for it. Yes, there are going to be groups of people that have, or maybe a greater percentage of their group are anti-white than another group or whatever. That doesn't matter for us and our well-being. What matters is that we serve white well-being and we defend ourselves from everyone who will inflict harm on us, whether they're big or small or whatever way they were born in life. We allow them to make that decision as to whether or not they're going to be anti-white or not. We would like them to serve white well-being with us because our lives are no less valuable than theirs. Our destinies is no less valuable than theirs. Our pain is no less painful than theirs. Our joy is no less deserved than theirs. That's where anti-whiteism comes from. And when you understand where it genuinely comes from, you will then understand everything that motivates an anti-white. You will understand why they do the things, why they've done things the way they've done them in the past. So you'll be able to retrodict everything in the past. Then you'll be able to predict into the future. You'll be able to understand the things that they're doing now. You'll be able to explain these things to the folks around you. And then they'll look at you like they look at me, like there's a crystal ball in front of me. That is where it comes from. Thank you for that.